In a world where law firms constantly miss out on new leads due to sloppy legal intake, and often because they just aren't answering the phone, two marketers aim to provide a glimmer of hope.
I thought we agreed we weren't going to do the announcer thing.
Thank God, because that hurts my throat. You do the intro.
Gladly. I'm Tony Prieto, and this is my colleague Nick Worker. Believe it or not, we're marketing professionals.
Well, I think you're the professional, but we are true experts when it comes to all matters legal intake.
For over a decade, our company, Answering Legal, has helped ensure that growing law firms never miss out on connecting with new leads.
And now we're ready to share our trade secrets and help make the legal world a better place.
Or at the very least, help our listeners shore up their lead capturing processes and convert more callers to clients.
Welcome to the Legal Intake Experts Podcast.
Let's dive right in.
We are back once again here on the Legal Intake Experts Podcast presented by Answering Legal. Fun fact about me and Tony is that we have worked together every single day, besides weekends and holidays and PTO, birthdays, and vacations, and everything else that life gets in the way of, for 3 years, and we have never seen each other in real life.
3.5, in fact.
My friend Roy Sexton, I love this guy. He was the former international president of the Legal Marketing Association. He posted something online that he was just like, oh, if you're my friend and we met online and we've never met in person, but we love each other and support each other, like this message. And I sent him a thing and I was like, it's us. And he was like, I know. It was cool. So that's how I feel about you.
That's the reality of the modern world. It's kind of impressive, right? There's never been a time in human history where two people separated by thousands of miles can talk every single day and see each other. In this, it's the sort of the visual part that changes things.
It is strange because you're only in Florida and it would cost me $200 to go visit you. I just never have. Maybe I will. What's there to do in Miami? What can we do in Miami when I come to visit you?
So, it's one of the things that you can do in Miami that you can really only do in a couple other places in the world, is you can rent a rather large yacht, and they will fill that yacht with people, and you can record a music video.
Dude.
That will make you look like a rap star.
Dude,
Costs
I don't know how much.
A couple $100, but
That's it?
yeah, it's pretty cheap. But people make money off of it, renting their yachts. Well, no, you have to bring the cameras yourself, but the yacht itself will not cost you very much money. But so you'll get those like shots of them driving, like piloting the yacht down the river or along the bay. All those shots that you see in like Ballers, I think is the HBO show about the Miami Dolphins with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. You can recreate those shots yourself. All you have to do is bring a camera, maybe a drone camera would be great.
I always talk to my friend Tina about this, that everything you see on social media is fake. It's a highlight reel. It's fake. It's all fake. A couple $100 and you can have a full music video in Miami on a yacht. And you know what? One day, me and Tony and I are going to film a music video on a yacht in a predetermined or to be determined musical genre. Preferably, I don't know. I think we should do like a bluegrass song and film it on a yacht.
It's just one of those things about Miami is that it's one of the only cities. There's probably maybe 5 cities in the world where you can pay several $100s to take photos for Instagram or record videos for TikTok to make you look like you're a celebrity. Speaking of online,
10
our topic
seconds
today is very online.
Oh, dude, everything's fake. Let's go back to legal intake because at least I want to talk about the real world and helping people do things. But I guess if you are a lawyer and you want to shoot a music video and look super legit, it only costs you a couple $100. But today, let's throw a curveball, dude.
How fast is your curveball? Slow
My
pitch.
curveball?
Yeah.
I think I actually threw a baseball as hard as I could, like a crow hop, full wind up through it. I think I hit 68. So how fast is my curveball? Much slower than that. But the first 2 episodes, we've been pretty phone focused, and we're talking all about how law firms can capture leads when the phone rings. Obviously, I know a little bit about that, but let's be real. It's really, I want to say half the story, but it's like 63% of the story these days. We live in a digital world, and a huge chunk of your potential clients are reaching out online before they think about calling, before they're ready to speak to someone about their case.
And most law firms aren't really set up for it. I mean, maybe you have a web form on your website, but Clio ran a study in 2024 that found that 67% of law firms didn't respond to prospects who emailed them. Now, that is a crazy number, because imagine getting that many emails and just throwing away that much business.
I think that gives new meaning to like business coaches who are like, you shouldn't be checking your email constantly, but it's like, maybe not constantly, but you should reply to some of them. I do think this is so crazy, and I don't think a lot of people realize this, or maybe they do. I don't realize this. I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn and talking with the most vocal people in our industry, right? So like lawyers that are really invested in their marketing and are thought leaders and are trying to get other people to do the same thing. And then I read, or I talk to people too about clients that come to a law firm and they say, oh my God, like you answered the phone, you answered my email, I filled out a form, you called me right back, and you were talking to me about my case. You'll never guess what happened to me at the first firm I reached out to. And it's like, what happened? No one emailed me back. I submitted a web form and it took them 4 days to respond to me. Or I got an auto response that the person was out of office and they're checking emails intermittently. There's just so much wrong. Like it's so easy to focus on when people are talking about the right thing, but there's so much opportunity out there for lawyers to get better. Like the bar is literally on the floor and people are crawling underneath it. They are digging holes underneath the bar just to play limbo.
I mean, it's law firms for businesses. This is something we're going to be saying every single episode. Can you imagine any other business where someone reaches out to you and you don't get back to them? Like you literally just leave money on the table? It's very few of them, and many of those businesses probably don't survive. Lawyers have the, I suppose, lucky situation of a lot of, clearly 67% of law firms don't do it. So all you have to do is be part of that 33%, and you'll be cleaning up, basically.
You know what I think this stems from? I think it's a couple of things. Truly, I think lawyers go to law school and they think, and I told you I read books about this, and it's like there's like 3 character traits of lawyers that in the mid 1900s had the most success. Is they were able to speak to clients, they were able to speak in the courtroom to like judges and other lawyers, and what was the third one? Something about like being personable in all 3 areas that you needed to be personable in. But I think nowadays there's this expectation that as a lawyer, when somebody comes to hire you, that you must maintain this level of professionalism and not cross any professional borderlines. And it's like, I don't think that's the case anymore. I think that is sort of outdated. I personally, in my life, have hired lawyers for a few things, but I'll give you my best example is my real estate lawyer. Now, I feel comfortable talking about my real estate lawyer. His name is Perry. He's a wonderful man, but I know for a fact that he will never, ever, ever watch this podcast. And if you do, Perry, I love you. I hope to see you soon. He's currently doing something for my brother as well. He's my real estate lawyer, and I got him through a referral. We meet up. He actually took me out to lunch with my wife, and we had a great time. We were like reviewing our offer and the contracts and everything you do when you go to buy a house. And my favorite thing about Perry is if you email him, he emails you right back from his phone. I think people are like, I can't answer from my phone. because it says sent from my iPhone and that doesn't look professional. And it's like, would you rather look super professional, or would you rather get that person a response to what they're asking you for? And Perry was like, here's my personal cell phone number. Don't blow me up or I'll block you. But if you have a question, like, let's talk, let's text. And he would send me text updates about where he was at in editing a contract or revising certain things. I don't know how. You would think, as somebody who's now like been through the process of buying a home, that I would know anything about it. I don't remember anything. I blocked it out. It was a very stressful time in my life.
It's a traumatic memory block, yeah.
Horrible. But like, Perry's awesome. And Perry was awesome because he treated me like a human being and a peer, not this, I don't know, buttoned up guy who's unapproachable. He answered my emails from his cell phone. The guy went to Greece on vacation during everything and was like, don't worry, I got it all handled. He took all the phone calls from Greece. He would text me. He sent me pictures of the beach. I know, probably, you don't have to go that far. I'm not saying you have to go that far. But he treated me like a human being.
As far as answering emails from your phone, if you feel like sent from my iPhone is unprofessional, I'm pretty sure you can just turn that off. Please email me at tprieto@answeringlegal.com, and I will tell you how to turn it off.
I love that. Before we move on, I want to talk about a couple of things, because I think there's a lot of law firms out there that don't even have a website, and it's 2025, and they rely on like word of mouth, Avo,
a local bar, bar association listing with a phone number and an email.
Yeah, think just any way that you can be out there listed as a lawyer and not have a website. I think you're doing yourself a disservice, even if the way that you get your clients is by referral. If you're in private practice, right? If this doesn't apply to you, it doesn't apply to you. But it's so underrated to have a contact form on your website. It's so underrated to have a pervasive phone number on the top of your website that somebody can call you on, that you can track those phone calls. And it's so underrated to use like online calendaring and web chat. The reason being that, and I don't have numbers off the top of my head, but the likelihood of somebody actually following through and meeting with you about the specific steps that you need them to meet with you about their case is so much higher when like you have their email address and you can send a 1 hour reminder on your Zoom call that you're about to have with them. Like, let's be real. Most people don't want to come into your office. Maybe they do want to come into your office, but you could do a Zoom call, you could do a phone call, and just the availability that you provide to people, and they can choose which way to contact you and remain in touch with you, opens you up to that individual segment of your market.
There's so many ways that people can reach you online that it would honestly take forever for us to talk about how to optimize for those, right? Like, you should have a Facebook page. You should probably, I don't know, have an Instagram. Any way that people can find you and reach out to you, and you need to be able to monitor those channels. But we can focus just on one, which is, let's say you have a website. Let's say it's set up so that people can read it. It doesn't look like a 1993 GeoCities page, and people get there and they can learn about your firm. Sometimes a web form just isn't enough. Sometimes it's too much. They don't want to give up their information to a form or whatever. There are ways to make those visitors of your website into clients that will be nice and easy. What are they, Nick?
I'll tell you a story. I love stories. 2016, Answering Legal's growing. Marketing department's doing really well. And we get in contact with, at the time, the largest personal injury law firm in the United States. And we're answering only their calls after hours. They had a huge built-out intake team for during the day. They did not need help on a rollover basis, on a conditional basis, but they wanted all of their intake done on nights and weekends. And so that was like their initial test with us. So we take on that account, and I remember helping to do like a bunch of the research for the onboarding to make sure that we were addressing all practice areas and routing calls to the correct person. And without doing any preliminary research, what's your assumption there, Tony, when you go to visit that firm's website? What does it look like in your mind's eye when you get there?
A lot of blue, a lot of yellow, a big
But how does it
picture of the
feel?
lawyer.
How does it feel?
Probably not answering the questions I want answered.
Well, where I wanted to lead you, but you didn't go, is that it was modern and sophisticated and
Gotcha.
animated and
Right.
futuristic, right? And like funded. And it was not. It was exactly what you were talking about. It looked like the original Internet Explorer. And if you're a 90s baby like me, you know what Internet Explorer is. It's not Microsoft Edge, it's Internet Explorer. It had that like 2D flat Windows 98 feel to it. The margins were like this, like your screen is like this, but it's collapsed and it's just like a notebook sized thing. And it was red. Brick red. And I remember going to the site and thinking, oh my God, this is like the biggest firm in the United. Like I see commercials for this firm. I see billboards for this firm. They are nationwide. They're huge. And I'm like, how can this be possible? And here's where I'm going with this. Future. No, that's not where I'm going. 90s baby. Where I'm going with this is that there are a ton of law firm owners out there who, and I'm like this too, so don't take this in the way that you think I'm coming from like a place of moral superiority, because I once was part of a small startup that was competing against much larger companies, and I understand how easy it is to write off that I'll never get there. I'll never be able to compete. I don't have the same budget. I don't have the same resources. I don't have the same skills. It's not true. There are so many examples of how you can go to market with your specific set of skills and what you offer and what you can do best to go toe to toe with the Morgan and Morgans of the country. You have specific value. You have specific skills. You have positioning. You have just such an opportunity. And for me, sometimes I really think about that website and I say to myself, anybody who at that time was talking about this law firm and said I couldn't compete should have taken a look at that website and said, man, for maybe a few $1,000s, I can have a much better website than this.
Yeah, it really is an I can do better than that kind of moment. And you have the luxury as a smaller firm of being able to focus on doing one thing really well, whereas larger firms have a million things to do, and they have broken down into departments, and they have someone whose job it is to do the website. Clearly, that person was dropping the ball. But when you're smaller, you can focus just on, hey, what if we made the website really good? What if we made it so that when people come to this website, when I advertise on Facebook or wherever, Google, wherever you're advertising digitally, or even on a bus stop with your website on the bus bench, when they get to my website, I want to make sure that they become clients. This website, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. It doesn't have to be a multi-thousands of dollars investment in your site, but you could have a web form. Make sure that you monitor your web form. Make sure that you have a phone number on there. If you are marketing inclined, make sure that you can track who's calling you from where and where they saw that number, a dynamic number based on where they are, etc., etc. And now, in 2025, you can have an AI chatbot that greets people who come to your website and says, hey, we're X law firm and we're here to help you. How can we help you? And collects their information so that you can call them back and say, hey, I noticed you came to our website because you're getting a divorce. I can help you with that. Boom. You probably secured that client.
I want to press you a little bit about what you're talking about before we get into like the AI chatbot part of this conversation. Is so like for you and me, right? We sit around, we talk about this all the day. We're marketing professionals. We're not business owners. We don't have a million things to worry about, plus dealing with clients, going to court, knowing the law, all that sort of thing, CLE, right? So we know best practices for doing the stuff that you're talking about, but can you speak more to like, you say having a web form is super important so that people can fill out your web form. But where should that web form live? How do you get people to that web form? And we're talking about like I think a more advanced, it's not advanced, but it's a marketing concept where you have like dynamic number swapping so that you know the person who called that unique phone number is calling from a specific thing, even though you have multiple visitors on your website. Like, how do you do that? Where should the phone number be listed? Sort of lay this out so that for anybody listening out there who's going to hire like a marketing company to make sure that they're doing all the things that a website should be doing is sort of informed and can say, that's not right.
So to start with, I'm old fashioned. There's a mental threshold of importance or money about to be spent. That means I will move to my laptop to go do that. If I'm going to buy a plane ticket, I do it on my laptop. That is a laptop task. However, most people are not like me. Most people do everything from their phones. So the answer is to design your website for people who are on their phones. If you're advertising on Google or Facebook, they're going to click on your ad on their phone. If you are advertising physically, right? If you have your website, like I said, on a bus bench, well, if they're walking by that bus bench, they're just going to pull it out on their phone. So what you want to do is make sure that your first and foremost, your website is optimized so that people who are on their phones can get what they need to get. And when we were talking about the Answering Legal website, we noticed that we had a drop in, we updated our website, and we had a drop in call-ins because we had removed a button that we had on the old website that had a phone, and you click it and it immediately says, would you like to call this number? It could be as simple as that. You have the phone number, sure, absolutely, but also just have a little picture of a phone at the bottom of the website, right near where their thumb rests if they're right-handed, because most people are, and you click it, and it pops up the internal phone, says, hey, call this number. Boom, right there, put that on every page, and you will have, when someone reads something on your website that they like, and they say, oh, I need this, they will click that button. Web forms, the easiest way to do it is to put it on every page. Put a web form on every page on your website. You can do like specific, if you're really into this, you can do specific, these are conversion pages. These are pages that are designed to convert. These are ones that are more likely going to inform people. But like to start with, just put it on every site, make a button that says, contact us, submit your case, whatever your chosen call to action is. When they click that button, they go to the form, they can fill out the form and submit it. And just those two like sort of top level solutions will increase engagement with your website and increase just the number of contact information you get.
I don't know I do know that you're like this because I do know that you watch podcasts of people in our industry. But my favorite podcast to watch, because it's the most fun and probably the most informative and maybe the best produced, let's say, is Lunch Hour Legal Marketing with Keith Sakalakis and Conrad Sam. And one of my favorite episodes that's bookmarked on my browser is I think they've done a few. I think they've done like 3 or 4, but it's a live website teardown of a law firm. And I really hope, because I don't remember, that the law firm themselves submitted it to them to like be roasted, and they found so much wrong with it. So I really love that sort of thing though, because you're humble enough to be like, oh, okay, this is what's wrong with my website. And Guy and Conrad could be semi-wrong, right? Like they don't know the analytics of like how that person's specific market interacts with that site. And I don't remember if they reconcile for that. But like before you make any big decisions, if you have any sort of marketing agency or help internally, figure out how people are interacting with all of that stuff before you make any moves.
Or you'll end up like us and remove a tool on our website that people were using without even realizing it.
That was a fun conversation because I specifically remember we were like having that conversation and we were like, oh, where should we put it? And I go, blind test right now. Everybody pick up your cell phone as if you were going to send a text. And everybody picked up their phone. And me, apparently I'm the weird one. I always pick up my phone in my left hand. This is my left hand. But you and everybody else picked it up in your right hand. And so we put it where your thumb can go on your right hand. I'm a righty.
Most people are right-handed, and in that conversation, I said, I don't let my left hand. There's a Bible quote, right? When giving charity, never let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. I take that to extremes. I never let my left hand know what my right hand is doing because I don't trust it.
You know, I love language, and for anybody out there who thinks like me, that like the certain etymology of words is very interesting. What Tony's talking about in religion, for whatever reason, they considered lefties to be evil and from the devil. And so the word in French for left is gauche, which you might recognize from a term in English. Like gauche is like a no-no or something that's bad, but it literally translates to evil. Gauche is evil.
The Latin word for left is sinister, or is where the word sinister comes from, sinestro, etc. One in that argument, when we were talking about where to put the call button, we were trying to future-proof our website as well, because we have an AI chatbot that we want to put on the website to interact with prospective customers, and chatbots, by and large, go on the right corner. And so we were arguing, okay, well, where do we put the phone? If the chatbot's going to go on the right, I guess the phone has to go on the left. One thing you can do is put an AI chatbot on your website, people who interact with it. It's a lower barrier to entry than a web form or a phone call. Phone calls like really high barrier to entry. A lot of people are very anxious about phone calls nowadays in our antisocial world. But a web chat is easy. You click on it and the AI says, hello, how can we help you? And you explain your problem and it collects your information and it sends it back. And the reason that I can talk about that with so much knowledge is because we, Answering Legal, have an AI chatbot.
I want to say a couple of things before I shamelessly plug this new product. Is with no data to support this at all, I absolutely abhor the help center chatbot widgets on most websites that I interact with. I'll give you a good example. I ordered, do I say names? I think I could say names. It's a true story. I ordered a butcher box because things are getting very expensive. And I decided I'm going to buy in bulk. I'm going to stick it in my freezer, all this butcher box stuff, and everything is going to be good. So I order it, it shows up, and I'm missing 2 items. So I go to the website to like email somebody, get support, whatever, and I open up this chat. And it's one of those things where the chat is just basically a search bar for a help center, which is fine, but it's not what I'm looking for. I want to complain to somebody about my first order. I'm kidding. And it was a little bit helpful, right? Like it told me where to go in order to like submit a ticket and do all of that. And then there's the other bane of my existence, which is like a decision tree chatbot, which I hate because you go somewhere and it locks you in. And I have problems that I want addressed and I want somebody to talk to about it, especially in the middle of the day. 9 to 5, give me somebody, or at least give me a response. And it's like, hey, are you contacting me for this? Yes or no? You click yes. Are you contacting me about this? And it's like, no, my answer is much more nuanced than yes or no. And I want to type that and I want to let somebody know about that specific problem. So my favorite thing about this new thing that we've created is that it doesn't lock you in to choosing yes or no, or white or black, or chocolate or vanilla. You literally can type to it and it gives you intelligent responses. And I'm going to stop being angry now because I just fired myself up. So you talk because, I'm...
One of the things, I mean, there's always this tension with chatbots is like IVR phone response trees. Often people will just call and say, agent, 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 until they talk to a human being. Decision tree chatbots can be a lot of the same. One of the advantages of AI is, in this case, is that it is automated. People understand that because when you type in, I am getting a divorce, it instantly responds, I'm sorry you're getting a divorce. Here's how we can help you. Can we have your email so we can contact you about this, right? The instant response is the giveaway. No human being types that fast. But it does literally address your concern, right? Your concern is I'm getting a divorce. Well, the thing says, I'm sorry about your divorce, but hey, guess what? We can help you. Can I have your email? And from a business perspective, from the lawyer's perspective, getting that email is key, right? It does it up front because if you don't have an email, if you don't have a phone number, this lead doesn't exist. It's someone who came to your website and said, I'm getting a divorce, and then that's it. The difference between that sort of general, someone visiting your website, and securing the lead is the conversational aspect of grabbing their phone number, grabbing their name and their email, so that when you get this lead, when it shows up, you can call it. And you call that person and they say, I'm getting a divorce. Can you help me? And you say, yes, absolutely, I can. And one of the things we talked about is that nobody responds to online inquiries, 67%. What that means is that when you do respond to an online inquiry, like you said, the people you speak to are going to say, wow, you actually responded. Because they're sending out emails in the dark. They're fishing with no bait. And when they catch a fish, they're going to be shocked and they're going to take that fish home. And in this metaphor, you are that fish.
I want to catch a fish in a lake with my bare hands. No, but everything you said is so pertinent and spot on. And before I go off into the woods, which you know I will do happily, my favorite thing about the chatbot, and we'll link a bunch of resources that you can learn a little bit more about it. My serious favorite thing about it is that we can upload as much or as little information about your firm and your process as you could possibly want. And so when somebody comes to the chatbot, if they're like me, even though it's AI, I'll write like, when can I speak to somebody? Right? And if you upload some documentation or have like a description of your process, the chatbot will tell that person, oh, here's what's going to happen. If you interact with me and submit your information, the next step is that somebody's going to call you to discuss your case, possible next steps. What could come of that is you signing a retainer, is you, I don't know, paying a flat fee. It could be any number of things depending on the type of practice area. And so what I think people don't yet understand is that the possibility is literally endless for that agent, that AI chatbot on your site, to have a conversation and be a resource of information for your customer rather than, and this is the whole changing landscape of like AI search with ChatGPT and AI mode in Google, is that you don't have to like skim web pages to look for the specific response piece of text that you're looking for. You ask a question and you get an answer to that question without having to read a whole article or browse an entire website. So for me, I know it kind of defeats the purpose sometimes of having a huge website if somebody can just ask this thing a question and get an answer. But that's my favorite part.
And where can people learn more about our chatbot?
I know. I went into the woods. I said I was gonna. So if you want to learn more about our chatbot, first of all, go to answeringlegal.com. Second of all, our producer is going to put a ton of links and resources to learn more about the chatbot. It's basically me talking. So if you hate the sound of that, you can go to answeringlegal.com. If you like watching videos where somebody explains things to you in a really dry humor way, you can watch those. But yeah, you should go to the website, learn more about our virtual receptionist service, and learn more about the chatbot. Tony, how much does the chatbot cost?
This is something we did not mention at all, sort of saving the best part for last. For lawyers, the chatbot is completely free. You don't have to be an Answering Legal customer or anything. All you have to be is a lawyer. You sign up. We will put the chatbot on your website, and then you get to experience it for free and forever. I mean, as long as you want the chatbot.
It was a very funny conversation when everybody told me that this was free, and they're like, yeah, put it on the website. It's free. I'm like, people aren't going to believe it. And they're like, we don't care. But it's free. If you call us and you say, I want that chatbot, can you help me make that chatbot? You will pay $0. Installed, trained, customized, designed. What else can we do for free?
I mean, and you'll get every single lead that signs up in your email. If you have people visiting your website, there's no reason not to do this because, again, it is free.
Yeah, I don't know how else
Yeah.
to promote free. I've never had to do that before.
It's hard to sell a free product because it is free.
You know, I don't know if you know this, but there's a song in the 90s by the Sick Puppies called All the Same. And the music video is a man with a sign in public giving away free hugs. And I imagine that it was also a weird thing to give away free hugs. But I'm giving away a free chatbot. Maybe we'll shoot that music video.
It's a little weirder to make people pay for a hug than to give
On a
free.
yacht, I'm holding up a sign that says free chatbot, and everybody on the Miami yacht who's partying and drinking champagne ignores me.
Yeah, they have a good time without you.
Anyway, before we get wrapped on time by our producer, Tony, thank you for doing the Legal Intake Experts podcast with me. And a special thank you to all of our listeners.
It's my pleasure. If it was also your pleasure, please be sure to join us for the next episode of Legal Intake Experts. All episodes of the show can be found on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and the Answering Legal YouTube channel.
We'll see you next time, everyone.